it's Jo here from Creative Empowerment, back with another pick a card reading all about death. And it's a strange one because I don't know where we're going with this. We are focusing on the idea of death, but this may be very different for each of the piles, which I have not filmed yet. I just want you to think about the concept of death when you're making this decision. You may already be really drawn or really repelled by one of the cards because they are quite, in your face, some of them. So as always, if you do like this video or if you like the way I read, please make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss an upload. There is also private readings available. They are in the description box below. So pile number 1, we have a piece of beautiful labradorite, that gorgeous glimmer, and it's almost like a cat's eye too. This death card is from the Everyday Witch Tarot. So it's pile number 1, if that one's calling you. Pile number 2, we have a beautiful piece of apatite. Nice, gorgeous, rich blue. And we have the death card from the Crow Tarot, if you're being called to pile number 2. Pile number 3 has Dragonstone. And the death card from the Muse Tarot. Pile number 4, we have another piece of apatite, but a different shade and quite a different piece than the first one. Interesting that we've got 2 versions of apatite. And the 4th death card is from the Underworld's Tarot. So as always, when you're ready and you have made your selection for either pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3 or pile number 4, or you may feel like you're drawn to more than one of the piles, and that's fine too. Links will be in the description box below. I will see you in your reading. Now there, pile number 1, if you chose the labradorite, beautiful flashes, then this is your reading today all about death. And your first card is death. Now I know that I didn't pull for these cards, but you chose it, so it's important. Now I feel like you have had, maybe you've had one belief for most of your life and it's recently changed. Or you've had a belief, but at the back of your mind you had another one. You know what I mean? Like there's been 2 ways of thinking when it comes to death for you. And I feel like, some of you may have been at the end of your tether, and this belief has then sort of changed again or opened the other door up a bit more for you. So we've got different ways of thinking about death. It's the card directly below is transformation. Now, if you have a look at this particular card, transformation, evolution and growth internally and externally. And I feel like you may be someone who's been challenged by death recently, or if not recently, it is still a death of somebody that is still really affecting your life. And this is, very much the colour green, so very much about the heart. So death has been something recently that has changed for you. Like I said before, you may have thought one way about death and then so you've experienced the death of a loved one. It could even be a very close partner. It could be that you have experienced the death of either a soulmate. For some of you, I'm going to use those words, I don't use them very often, or someone who you felt like you were going to have around you forever, and you've had that's changed for you. The swan here is very much about soul love. It's about loved ones, so very much soul, swan's mate for life. So this is that feeling that this person and you were going to be together forever, that you could always count on them, that they were always there. You get the picture. But that has, there's a new day dawning around that because this person it feels like they have left, or, and it may not be due to death. So for some of you, it may be death, but it could be that this is the death of the relationship. So the card next to it is about friendship. True friends last forever and love is eternal, which is why it's making me think that it may be the death of a relationship or even a friendship that you're experiencing this loss. And for some people, the ending of a relationship is in the same, grief as the loss of a loved one. So we could be looking at two different types of people here in this group. Foundation, where the foundations are strong, you can build any structure. And I feel like that your very foundations have been sort of rocked by this either death of a friendship or relationship or loss of a loved one. And the foundations at the moment, I feel like you're questioning them, second guessing them, thinking, well, what was it all for if this is what's happened? There is the practicalities, the sun in Taurus here, boosts self-worth and finances. And I feel like that it's just like there's this message of just having to get on with it because things will change. The Wheel of Fortune, it's a sign and a symbol that, same with the coin here, that things go in cycles, and that, that while this doesn't feel great, there'll be a time for you to move on from this. And I don't really, don't want to say that in a way that there is a time frame on it, but that there will be a time. So it's just about the practicalities of life. There'll be a point where things need to change, and life will keep, going around in a cycle. And so at the moment, you may not feel like you're not prepared to move on. You're not able to move on. There may be all those sorts of things. There may be a lot of feelings of lack around your strength, your vitality, even your own health, in this ability to move on. So, like when I'm saying that you will move on, it's not about deciding to move on and just doing it. It's taking your time, letting things take their own evolution. So the Nine of Cups here, it's interesting that it's coming in because I'm talking about not wanting to move on. There'll be a time when you're prepared to move on, so don't force or push it. There's a natural course of justice here, and we have the 9 and then we have the 11. So, and the Wheel of Fortune is a 10. So just allow things to go in their own time frame. Don't push them. This is a phase for you of personal growth. The moon in Taurus, self-esteem. This is about you uncovering what is inside. And that's why I said before about this foundation. It's like you're really second guessing and thinking about the foundations of your life, whether you've spent time based on things or focused on things that weren't important. That won't be for everybody. That's just some people are second guessing why they've spent time on things, why they've spent time building relationships, when hurt is going to be the thing that comes from them. So we have, interesting, because this could be, for some of you, it could be the loss of a parent. We have the father and the mother here, and the 3 and the 4. The parent or the father figure is in the reverse. The Emperor is all about structure, the foundations. And so perhaps your foundations are actually being turned upside down with this loss that you're experiencing, with this grief. The Empress card here is coming in to talk about nurturing you. And I feel this is self-nurture. So for some of you it may not be, but it does feel a lot like this is the time in your life where you have to change some of your foundations so that you actually look after you. And this is how you're going to grow. And this is part of the reason you're experiencing what you're experiencing, is it so you start looking after yourself rather than assuming that someone's always going to be there to look after you. Now, I know that sounds really hard, so if you've turned off, I do apologise. I am bringing through messages, and sometimes they're quite direct. So, yeah, the Strength card here. You are very capable of doing this on your own. You won't need to do it on your own because you will be supported by Spirit. You won't always see Spirit's hand in things, but it will be there. The 7 of Cups here is telling me that you thought you had a lot more time. You thought you had a lot more options. You thought that things would go on forever. And that has affected the way you're now going into life. So what I mean by that is that you thought that you it was sort of that feeling of a child that what you have is going to last forever. It's hard to describe it a different way because they're giving me one message. What you have was going to last forever. What you had was going to stay there, when we know that nothing stays as it is. There are surprises in life that we don't want, that we need to be strong for. The Page of Cups in reverse. There are things that upset us and upset our apple cart, even when we're in the prime of our life, even when we are experiencing, like the good times. But the other thing is here that we don't want to then turn this into, turn the sword on ourselves and start making our own life a misery. It's not meant to. It doesn't mean that you won't feel pain from this experience, but you don't want to then tie yourself up in knots and make yourself feel like this is going to last forever, because as you have recently or have learned, nothing lasts forever and things always change. It is a big spiritual lesson for you that you're very reluctant to learn, and I understand that. You as a soul, you manifested this in the sense that you chose this experience, which I don't think you'll want to hear, but this is your spiritual lesson that you're working through. It is around relationship. It is around you discovering that you draw what you want to you. You draw the messages, you draw the relationships, you draw the people to you. And if you try and hang on to the ones that you've got, that creates that feeling of lack. There'll be more relationships that fulfill you. I'm not saying that this person will be replaced in your life. However, it's up to you whether, how you're going to continue on. You're not meant to suffer on the earth plane. You're meant to experience a full life with many varied experiences. Now, the last card over here that I haven't yet talked to is Otter. And Otter is about experiencing the fullness of life. It is about understanding that, with joy comes sorrow. With sorrow comes movement and time and change, and then again comes joy. So it's about that, the circle of life, seeing that, which I think I talked about down here with the Taurus, Sun in Taurus, which is this practical idea that things change and that things move on. People move on, things move on. Otter is about joy and play and helpfulness. So it's understanding that even though things in your life don't feel that great, that there will be a time and a place where that changes for you, that there will be a time to play again. There will be a time for you to accept the responsibilities of life and then understand that they'll change and keep adapting as you move on. You don't want to hold on to this feeling that you have right now, even though you want to hold on to the memory of this relationship or this person. It's about understanding that death is a door that continually moves, that, sometimes it opens and it takes people, or it takes things and people, experiences, etc. from our lives. Yet usually what we find is that there is another door opening, and that we are moving into a different phase of our life. Now, I understand that there may be some people who are grieving very much the loss of somebody or some relationship in their life. And I don't mean to make light of it or make you feel like you can just close that door and move on. It's about taking the time, but understanding that will happen in the due course of life, however long that takes for you. And I'm hoping that this gave you some support and knowledge that will happen for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did get some value out of it, and make sure that you're subscribed if you would like to be notified of each video as it's loaded. I hope to see you in a reading soon. Bye for now. Hi there, pile 2. If you chose the beautiful rich coloured apatite, then this is your reading today, all about death. So where are we going for you? just have a look at your death card, because you actually chose it, so it does have meaning for you. This is the idea that death is a window into another world. It is a resurrection. And I have a strong feeling of religion here, and I don't think you're still a religious person, or you may be, but perhaps you have grown up religious. That idea of hell and brimstone, you know, that idea of that if you don't go to heaven, then you're going to this other place, which has really affected how you think about things. And it feels like there is a lot of light colors here. There's a lot of air. There's a lot of magical thoughts. So like there's a lot of this idea that there is this beautiful place called heaven, but then you judge yourself whether you're going to get in. And I think that is really, we've got the coming apart over here. I feel like this idea for you of heaven is a wonderful idea. However, the flip side of it, where you think you might go if you don't go to heaven, is really destructive for you. And I feel like this is about breaking open those beliefs for you. Now that I've sort of given you a big picture, I'll break it down a little bit more. But we have this honor card, and the card here talks about, now these cards are like portals if you look at the sort of the refraction. So if you're not watching and you're listening, it might be a good idea to have a look at the screen. When you honor yourself, you will gain respect. Now there's a lot of emerald here. Emerald is about the heart, the stone. It's about opening the heart. And I feel like this religious background of yours has, in a sense, perhaps closed you off to some things that are missing from your life almost, you know. We have the faith card here too, which is another. Now this card isn't what made me think about, or, you know, this card isn't the only thing that brought up faith, but this is more about you having faith in yourself. And that's what I believe, this honor, faith, persistence. This is about rising above and beyond what you may have been taught early on in your life, that spirituality was, that it is. This is about moving beyond those narrow conceptions. I love that card, the Temperance card coming in here. And the Temperance card is a beautiful card for you as what I'm talking, because we have an angel. So there's that religious idea of what an angel might be, but there's also lots of spiritual gifts from angels that come in. We've also got the emotions flowing to and fro, so it's like a balancing out. We've got water, which is both a spiritual gift as well as an emotional one. So the emotions here are need to be balanced around this idea of death from that spiritual upbringing, or from just even, this could even just come from the society that you live in. It doesn't have to be that you were, you know, indoctrinated into this way of believing, but you have picked it up along the way. But some of the, like I said before, some of the things about religion for you have really worked for you, and you've enjoyed them and you've liked them, and there's no need that you need to get rid of them. However, there are aspects of this, which is this coming apart. So the flying card is that idea that, you know, this with spiritual gifts and with a spiritual identity, you have this ability to fly over obstacles, and it does come with communion, in the sense that I don't mean it from a religious sense. What I mean is with other people. It's a community. People get together, and so this could also be, you know, a more what I call spiritual, which is, you know, a belief in a higher power, but not religion itself. And so this could also be that perhaps you're navigating beyond the old teachings for yourself, and that this death is you actually moving beyond the idea of what you've been taught originally, you know, this idea of the devil and hell and things like that, which is very controlling and constraining. And when you think about why the devil concept was there, it was very much about controlling people so that people wouldn't do the wrong thing. So this idea for you, we've got this line coming through the bottom here, which is the Wheel of Fortune. It's like you're graduating, you're getting rid of the things that don't work for you, and you're only going to keep the things that do work for you, which I absolutely love. But it may not feel that great. It may feel like you're, like things are unraveling or coming apart, coming undone. So things that you have thought about, things that might have been like a bit of a rock for you, a bit of a part of your life, are changing. But it's like they're being burst open, not but that always doesn't necessarily feel great. But it's like there's more light coming in here. There's more light coming in. So the flying can go higher, but it's about you honoring yourself, not about giving away power to any deities or any religions or doctrines or that kind of, or dogmas even, that kind of stuff. Because the Hierophant in the reverse here, it's talking about that out of balance spiritual teacher. So for some of you, this could be perhaps that you've given a bit of your power away to somebody else and not yourself, because it is sitting underneath the Faith card. This is all about your own empowerment spiritually, and the death is coming through the idea that whatever you've thought about before is dying, and that you're moving into a far greater appreciation of what your spiritual life is. Apatite is a really great stone for, perhaps connecting with angels or, those higher spiritual energies. So perhaps that's where you're going. Now, before I bring in some more cards, what I want to talk about the last two cards that I haven't yet talked about. And we've got Cattle Bush, which is about persistence, and we've got the 9 of Wands. So it feels like you have had to, or maybe this is where you are now, that your beliefs are now challenging other people, so you're feeling defensive, and that doesn't feel great, particularly if you've had this lovely feeling of communion and community. And then we've got the 9 of Swords here, so it's in the reverse too. So your new ideas perhaps are causing you some, conflict within family, friends, or community, and that doesn't always feel the best. We have the 7 of Pentacles reversed as well, so it feels like you're pushing things up hills. You're not getting where you want to go. However, this to me feels like a breakthrough, and it's kind of like you have to walk away from a few things. There isn't that's not here, but when you look at the Death card, you see that the soaring bird or the soaring crow has to leave the old body behind. So there is something here that you need to leave behind. And the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, you can't just keep wanting people to change their mind just because you have. So we've got the 8 of Swords in reverse again. So another card of really you reflecting on how you feel in this new way of thinking. This idea of leaving behind everything, and particularly maybe you're leaving behind family, friends, maybe you're leaving behind the way that you grew up, and maybe that's upsetting for you, maybe that's hard to get a handle on, maybe that feels like emotionally you don't know how that's going to work for you. However, if you look at the 8 of Swords, so that's the 8 of Cups as well, 8 of Swords, we've got lots of 8s here. We've got 3 8s, 2 are in the reverse. The 8 of Swords, you can see that the person is tying themselves up. They are making their own life hard because of the way they think. But in the reverse, to me, that's talking about you getting sick of it, or getting jack of it is what I want to say. The 8 of Cups is you knowing that you're leaving this behind you, but perhaps you don't want to go. The High Priestess in the reverse, again, you know where you're going. You understand, like you know that your mind is being filled with all of these other concepts of what a spiritual life can be. You're on your way, but there's a hanging on, which again, this is that death. This is that idea of death. We have the two twos actually. We've got the 2 of Pentacles and the 2 of Wands. So you're making decisions, but maybe you're not ready yet to make them. And I want to put them like that. you know, there is a decision to make here, and perhaps that is to move on. Well, that one. And then we have the Chariot. So we've got the Chariot moving you forward, but there is a resistance to the moving forward. Can you see that over there? Maybe. Yeah, there is a resistance to the moving forward. And again, we've got a lot of duality here. We've got 2, 2. We have the Chariot is another. There is, you know, the white and the black. So perhaps you're seeing things very black and white. Perhaps you're seeing that if you do move away from this family, from friends, whatever, that, you know, you'll always be not accepted back into this family, this friends. However, this movement that you're doing is more about connecting into who you are. So the Queen of Cups feels like she's just sort of you're becoming the Queen of Cups. You're connecting into your emotions, to your feelings. And perhaps if you're very much about your mind, which feels like it was in the beginning, then that might be challenging for you too. The Emperor here is in the reverse. You are outgrowing a lot of the structures that you have had in your life, and that's very much this idea. I'm going to move everything now, get the Death card back up, of resurrecting yourself. So it's like you've outgrown a lot of the structures that you grew up with, all the beliefs, the ideas, whatever this thing is for you. You have outgrown these structures and you're moving beyond them. The Eight of Wands, the Chariot. It's time to go, even though you don't want to, even though there's some decisions that you don't want to make when it comes to this spiritual identity of you or your family or whoever this is. You're ready to move beyond it. You don't feel like you are, because I can see that here with the Two of Wands in the reverse. You don't think you have what it takes to live this lifestyle, but you're getting so much information from the ethers, is kind of, you know, psychic information or spiritual information, however you like to think about it. You're getting a lot of information, and it's time to let this thing die, you know, because it's not the end point. It is a beginning point. Thank you very much for being here, pile number 2. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe down below to make sure that you don't miss a video, and I'll see you in the future. Bye for now. Hi there, pile 3. If you chose the Dragon Stone, then this is your reading. And we have our first card is the Death card, and we're going to read these cards because you chose it, not because I actually pulled it, but because something in here drew you to it. Now we've got the Moth. We have some statues that look like they're frozen solid and they can't move. We've got some, I'm getting really hot talking about this, and we have some spider webs. We have two heads. So thinking in excess is the words that I'm getting. And I'm also getting a struggle here too, a struggle to pass perhaps, and a struggle with the idea of death. So perhaps you are someone, pile 3, who struggles with the idea of death and doesn't like it and runs from it at every opportunity. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting, and that you are yet to see it as a transformation. The Moth here. Butterflies and moths are very much around transformation. Moths are attracted to the light, and perhaps you have had a past life, which I feel like yours is related to past life over here, that you've had a past life where you have been unable to make it to the light or found it difficult. And my voice is very scratchy and all over the place and kind of like breaking, which so maybe there's some things that you haven't said yet or haven't expressed in this lifetime from another lifetime. Now, the other thing that I'm really being drawn to with your pile is all of the greens here. You picked a green stone. We have lots of greens and earthy tones for you. So camouflage, stay undercover right now, as there's not a lot going on around you, which I actually don't know if the last part is there for you, but stay undercover right now. This feels like a stone where it could be camouflaged quite easily, you know, the greens and browns. This other idea here of the greens and browns is around decay and about letting go. And you can still hear my throat is very crackly or crunchy. So again, this idea of decay is really coming in for you. the Goblins card and the Rock Bottom. Now we're going from a 5 to a 10 here. So we've got Goblins. Goblins is all about your own fears and the things, your feelings of lack. So whether this is around your self-esteem or whether this is around this idea that somebody or something is out to get you, that there's always something that you need to, look out for, hide from, be on alert. There's that feeling here. We're going from the Goblins to then jumping to Rock Bottom. So perhaps you have a tendency to do that. Perhaps you may have an illness or or something show up in your life, and you may go from wondering about it to, oh my God, it's the worst thing that there possibly could be. But rock bottom here, there's much more that meets the eye, and I will definitely come back to this. But I'm also really getting that this is very flesh, like this idea of rock bottom, it's a grave, it's, there's nowhere out from here. However, death is not about dying forever. Death is the start of a rebirth. So whether that's on a very physical level, in the sense that something dies or someone dies and leaves you, or whether this is a metaphysical aspect for you. But I am going to bring these cards in over here now, these tarot cards. But I also feel that we're working with a couple of things here. And one is that there is tendencies in life around death. And that you're challenged around these things. This card that just wanted to come in, Lantern's Bush, it's a challenge for you, but that this awareness will help you. So I might bring those cards in a bit more, or they may just needed to come in to sort of reiterate what's going on there. But here we have this past energy, and I feel like this is where we are, these beliefs are coming from or have come from. I feel like in a past life, now this won't be for all of you, this is a group reading, so take what resonates and let the rest go. But I feel like in the past life, a lover, and some of you, this may be this lifetime, a lover has really hurt you. And I feel like it's more than just hurt you. I feel like some of you could have died at the hands of a lover. Instead of feeling safe in the world or safe in relationships, most probably, the idea of going into relationships, and this could be not just intimate ones, this could be all relationships, is very, very challenging for you. And you don't know how to go into them. You don't know how to do them almost, This idea of the Fool here, it's like you want to go in with lightness and gaiety and things like that, but you can't, because you're still processing or not processing, which is very interesting how I've talked about camouflage and things like that. It's like, and decay is because you're not ready to let it rot away, and it's still a challenge for you. But because you're becoming aware of it, this is the thing that will help you move beyond it. Okay, so now obviously that's not going to be for everybody, what I just said about the lovers there. However, we have the Three of Swords here, and we also have the work. It's like relationships for you are hard work, and perhaps you want to put that, perhaps you want to put that behind you. Perhaps you want to let that die. But there's a lot of thinking that goes on with this. You're not really connecting into this earth energy of it. You're much more thinking about it. The swords, this death card as well, it's a lot about thinking about how can I think my way out of this, instead of more sort of connecting to that earth energy of how can I connect into my body to help me see my way through this. The Chariot here is a great card for you. And we've got the Three of Swords again. And this feels like the way out. So it's not about camouflaging yourself. It's not about saying that all relationships are going to be crap for me and I can't work them. That's this feeling here I've got of the Seven of Pentacles next to the Three of Swords. It's like I can't work relationships. I don't know how to see my way clear. And I just, that feels important, that see your way clear of it. Because I think perhaps you're not even imagining a life where you get beyond this. because you're seeing that this will always be this way for you. You're always going to be challenged by it. And yellow is another, very much about the mind. So we're working with the mind here. The Three of Swords in the reverse, I feel this is how you let go of it. You have to connect into the body and find the vehicle out, but it's very much a physicality. So all those stones at the top there with the dragon stone, it's all about a physical embodiment of the pain, probably to begin with, and understanding that the pain is there to get you further than you're ready to go right now. Yep. So we have the Queen of Wands, and then we have the Ten of Cups. So the Queen of Wands is in the reverse because I feel like you're still doubting this is possible for you. I also feel like your motivation or lack of motivation. The lack of motivation here is because you don't trust that it's going to happen for you, because you've not seen the results yet. You haven't been able to put this to rest at any point in this lifetime. And it is a hangover from another lifetime for a lot of you. So you are camouflaging yourself when it comes to relationships, full stop. And I don't feel this is just an intimate relationship. I do feel like this is like a serial thing for you. However, your ability to turn this around is there. The mind is very important for you. The yellow is really popping for me. And I feel like you really need to really bring this to your awareness and the front of your awareness, because when you get to this rock bottom with it, then you'll understand how to move through it. And the next cards I have for you are the Four of Wands, which is a celebration card, very much about, celebrating with other people. And then the Knight of Wands reverse. So again, we've got another action card, which is in the reverse card. So we've got the Queen of Wands, who can talk about, action. We've got the Knight of Wands in reverse. And I feel like this is your self-esteem and self-doubt coming in. It's, it's the thing that challenges you. It's the thing that when you get to that rock bottom, when you get reminded of what this thing was, when you see that the relationships around you don't work as you want them to, you only see the challenge and you feel defeated rather than feeling the ability to move on. One thing to think about here is that when you do see that challenge, when you are reminded, it's not the universe asking you to feel all the feelings again. It is asking you to reevaluate relationships, justice and play fair, eclipse in Libra, and it's all about rebalancing. This is where the universe asks you to rebalance who you are and how you behave with others and how you relate to others. It's not a give up and give in. It's not fall to the bottom of this place, which, could, for all intensive purposes, look like the bottom of where a grave, where a body is put. But you see that there are paths here that lead here, and there's another path that leads here. But the other thing is that this ground is already starting to be broken up. It's not meant to be the last place you rest. It is meant to be the place that you move through and beyond. Rock bottom is a teaching point, a place for us to move beyond. Now, in my viewer, I can see that the Ten of Cups here. You're meant to get what you want because this challenge is for you to overcome, not to surrender to and to give in, pile 3. So some very challenging energies for you around relationships, around, perhaps a past life for some of you, and for some of you this will be in this lifetime, either hurt. But the other thing is that it's like, even maybe it's the death of a relationship is too much for you to bear. But we do have a lot of mental stuff that is holding you back. So it's connecting to the body, connecting to the physicality of you, because that's the thing that's going to get you beyond the heartache, that's going to move you into the rebalance, which is where death wants to take you. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed so you won't miss a video. Bye for now. Hi there, pile 4. If you chose the dark, deep coloured apatite, then this is your reading today, all about death. I'm going to place yours up there just because we're going to struggle because I've got a lot of big cards for you. So this death card here from the Underworld's Tarot, even though I didn't pull for these death cards, I'm going to incorporate it into the reading because you chose the imagery. And to me, I feel like you've been battered and bruised by death. Perhaps you're someone who's experienced lots of deaths in your lifetime, that, you know, like that you almost need to fight your way through the deaths because there's been that many, or that death is, it's been something that's been a common theme in your life in one way or another. So because it's a group reading, you know, it won't be the same for everybody. But I do feel like there are a lot of people a lot of people have passed in your lifetime. Right underneath we have the hare, and the hare is about rebirth. The hare is also looking very startled if we have a look at this picture. You know, it's got, the eyes are bright open. We're moving from daylight, you know, the dawn is breaking here, which is another sign of rebirth. So I feel like you're someone who already really understands well that death is not the end of a cycle, death is an end of a cycle, but it's not the end of everything. And you've learned that the hard way because you've experienced so many deaths in your life. I feel like you're very alert and wired, though. There's that feeling there too. The other thing is I feel like you may be someone who either communicates with the dead, or, you know, maybe you have people around you who, you know, loved ones who you still communicate with, but that they feel like they're very there for you. And if you're not able to communicate with, you know, if you're not a medium or someone who communicates to spiritual, to the other side is really what I want to talk about with you, then I feel like you have the capacity to do that. And you may be like, I don't want to do that. Well, that's fine. You don't need to do that. But I feel like for a lot of you, you've had these experiences so that you can prepare for this communication. Hone your negotiation and relationship skills with the Sun in Gemini. It's all about communication. And this Innocence card, it's time to play, let go of any doubts and worries. I feel like these are gifts that you have. You know, for everybody listening to this, you may not have ever felt this, or it may be something that you've shied away from, but you are here to communicate and bring through messages. Now, that might be that that you commune with, you know, your lost loved one that you have, but you have a lot of wisdom in and without around your life. You're like, it's not just you, you're quite a wise person yourself with the owl here. But there's also this idea of a shapeshifter, and I don't really know why that's coming in, and that won't be for everybody, but there is an owl shapeshifter around some people who are listening to this. And this idea of connecting in with the moon is important, the idea of goddess. You know, there's quite a few sort of rituals, the things like that. There's quite a lot of that information coming in here. And for some of you, that'll make sense. And for others of you, you're probably like, oh, I don't get that. Guardianship, take care of your home, property and people at the moment. Now, this to me feels more like guides are around you, okay? So I feel like you're someone who, from an early age, you've had messages from loved ones. This could come in a shape of feathers, signs and symbols. It doesn't have to be direct communication. Some of you might be thinking, that's not me. And so perhaps you are somebody who has seen signs and symbols and perhaps you haven't taken notice of them. This could be someone, you know, this idea of death for you might have been a bit overwhelming, and you may not have been able to, to really get a perspective on death. But it's been something that's been quite significant in your life already. And I feel like this ride the wave here is telling me that at times the emotions have got out of control and you haven't been able to see clearly because of the loss of the loved ones, but that's just part of the process for you. Now, I don't want to dismiss that. I don't want to say that, you know, that the experiences that you have are nothing. I don't mean that at all. But it's been part of the process. And I know that sounds really harsh, and I don't want to keep saying that, but that's what I'm being given. So I'm going to say what I've been given. The Emperor here, you know, it's in the reverse. It's part of the structure of your life, is what the idea that death is a part of the structure of your life, or the fabric of your life. Again, I'm feeling very spacey. My head feels like it's split in half. Like I can hear out of one ear, but I can't hear out of the other. So this may be quite jarring thought for you. So I do apologise, but it's the message that I'm being given. I feel like you're very self-reliant, that you're someone who usually, and I'm saying usually because maybe when you're watching this, you may not be feeling this, but usually you're self-reliant. You know what you want. You know how you're going to get it. You do have a trust in spirit. However, there are times when that comes into doubt, and perhaps the deaths have challenged some of that for you, but it's also been the awakener at the same time. The chance to boost health and vitality leads to satisfaction. Moon in Virgo, contentment. I think that the more that you are content with this idea of death and this idea that you can actually commune with the other side, the more relaxed you'll become, and the more information that you'll be able to bring through. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be a psychic or a medium or any of those things if you don't choose to be. However, you may bring through messages from lost loved ones that gives you a lot of healing. So we've got the Temperance card and we've got the Ace of Cups. So when you're really connected to these ideas, it's like they bring through a flow into your life, which feels really nice. And also it's very much healing. It doesn't mean that you have to do it for work, but it's a possibility if you wanted to, because the work card is showing up here. But I don't feel like that be for everybody who's watching this, but it could be. You could be the group that is all about people who are mediums, psychics, or have a spiritual bent to your lifestyle and your, because we've got the Page of Pentacles as well. Perhaps it's something that you're thinking about doing, that you're planning on doing it, because I do have another planning card here. So, and I've got the Ace of Wands. So like it feels to me, I'm just pulling out the top card after the top card. It feels to me like the loss of your loved ones. It's not the idea. It hasn't given you an idea, but it has at the same time. And what I mean by that is you're not someone who has said to yourself, oh, this would be a great idea. I can commune with my loved ones or other people's loved ones. Maybe I'll, work that into some sort of payment work thing. It's not the way it happened for you. It spoke to you. This spirit spoke to you. This idea of crossed over loved ones, this idea of people pining for loved ones. This has spoken to you, and you are able to see beyond what others may not. And I feel like you've probably been able to do it from quite a young age, 6 of Cups, but you may have resisted it. Now I'm getting a lot of retraction in my body, like my shoulders and neck are all really tightening up, because perhaps you haven't wanted to, perhaps you have felt judgment from other people, perhaps this doesn't seem like a very good job idea or way of making some money, or even maybe you doubt that you should make money from it. There's a thing here around this idea that I do have this thing that I am good at. When I let it flow, this healing aspect of what I do is very strong for me and others. It is a wisdom that I'm bringing through from other lifetimes. However, I do have some resistance here around it because it feels like work, but I don't know if I'm ready to accept monetary value for the services that I provide, because I don't see myself as in partnership with Spirit, and that Spirit is the one that is bringing the money in, not the people who are paying the services. However, they are the people that, you will take money off, but Spirit wouldn't give you paying customers if that was not the way you're to be remunerated for this gift that you have. You have a lot of guides around you who are guiding you through this. However, some of your blocks, your resistance to receiving money from what you do. So all the healers, this could be, you may not call yourself psychic, you may not call yourself a medium, but you receive messages from Spirit. You may be a healer. There's many. You may be a counselor. There's many different ways this could hypnotist. There's lots of different ways that you might be employed in this, utilizing these skills that you have. But, you know, you are putting yourself on the outer here. You are constraining yourself. Now, I don't know why we've moved into this, but obviously this is what you need to hear from this idea of death. Death is not even, you're not taking advantage of people. You are not using your skills and your gifts to cause pain. You're doing the absolute opposite. And the thing is, you're not meant to be destitute on the side of the street. You're meant to actually receive. This is a partnership card, the Two of Cups. It is a partnership with Spirit, but it's a partnership with the divine, but it's also a partnership here on this plane. These are all about, experiencing wealth, experiencing payment for services, and not having yourself really constricted by this Five of Pentacles, which is, you're probably bringing that in from some other lifetimes for some people, but it is this idea that I don't want to make money off people's misery, that sort of thing. So I just want to see, any advice around that from Spirit for you. The Devil card. Let go of all the things that are controlling you, constraining you. The Hermit reversed. So perhaps, now the cards there and the colours are pretty interesting. Where do you want to go? The Page of Cups in reverse. So you're not trusting. You're not going within and connecting to where Spirit wants to lead you out of this. You're connecting to the deficit. You're entrained, really strange word to use, but you're entrained into the old way of thinking. You're entrained into this idea that the skills and the abilities that you have aren't worth anything, that people don't want them, that, there's nothing to see, move along. This is old thinking. This is, you may have been someone who've watched one of the other piles as well, feeling that you may have some old thinking around death and this idea. But the Hermit and the Devil here are really, you going to the depths of what yourself is about. There's very much self-esteem here, very much this idea of you deceiving people, you taking people for a ride. And I've got the intention card here, 22. That's not your intention at all. So your belief that you may have other people around you that say, that the type of work that you do, you're just taking people for a ride. You're not looking after them. That people that come to those sorts of people, and I'm using inverted commas, those sorts of people, that you're having them on. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of beliefs here that are around this idea that are ready to go, because you have this ability to cross the divide that most people don't have. And however you use it, whether it's healing or whether it's readings or whether it's mediumship, whatever it is, you have this ability and others don't or choose not to. Your self-esteem, this is here to help you grow. But there is this watery depth that you need to go to bring out. It's like you need to go right to the bottom, and then this pearl, and bring back the treasure that is your self-esteem, what you actually bring to the table, because you're not seeing it. You're not seeing that this gift that you're bringing to the table. Your intentions are pure. This is a 22 over here with the intention card. We have the owl again, had the owl before. You have a lot of guides and wisdom around you, and it's up to you to open this egg. There is this promise here for you in this lifetime that you have yet to fulfill. It is around death, and that is not, you could even be a doula, a death doula. There is a lot of stuff for you to get over and clear out of the way. The Queen of Wands, you are very excited and passionate about the work that you do. The Knight of Pentacles, you don't trust that you're able to do it and do it on your own. You also doubt that you're reaching for things that are out of your grasp. Now, that's a specific message and it won't be for everybody. You are not. You are dreaming up the life that you want, and it's up to you to stay empowered and impassioned to bring it into existence. Lots and lots of messages here for you. I feel like I could go on forever because there are lots of messages for individuals. If you would like a private reading, there is a link in the description box below. Please make sure that you're following my channel if you'd like to stay updated with videos as I put them up. Thanks for being here, and hope to see you in a reading in the future. Bye for now.